As you can imagine, studying at Harvard is hard. It's a place where you can get humbled very fast as you become just one of many high achievers who have constantly gotten high marks all their lives. So Harvard would be no different. At Harvard, I quickly realized that my old study habits from high school were just not gonna cut there. We all have 24 hours in a day, but somehow some people manage their 24 hours better than others. And I was struggling. I kept studying for longer and longer hours to get better grades, but I realized that studying longer for better grades was just not giving me a healthy study-life balance that I needed to keep my sanity so I could have a life outside of school. And when I saw how hard and competitive it was to get high marks at Harvard, I knew that I had to change my study habits. Because everyone was studying to get high marks, but some were studying less than others and still getting the best marks. And that's when I realized that I was in the best place in the world to actually learn the habits of other highly effective learners, because I was in a place full of other high-performing students. So I could observe and learn how to study smarter from their routines, their habits, their schedules, their motivations, and ultimately understand what differentiated them from an average performing student like me. So I could do the same and also consistently get high marks in any class. And let me tell you already that there is nothing radical like waking up at 4 a.m., taking cold plunges, or doing any sort of crazy productivity hacks you might have seen out there. Sure, some of them did do those crazy things, but it's not a requirement. And if you're new here, hi, my name is Karina, and welcome to my channel where I share study hacks, productivity tips, and practical frameworks to help you to elevate your life through education. As Aristotle said, 90% of everything that you do is a result of a habit. So here are incredibly powerful habits that high-performing students have implemented into their daily lives to help them to achieve high grades consistently so you can save your grades and your sanity too. Tip number 1, collaboration over competition. It's easy to get caught up trying to compete for better grades, shut down the outside world, and think that being secluded, you can study more efficiently, especially in a highly competitive place like Harvard. But actually, collaborating and studying in groups helps us to lessen the burden of trying to learn everything on our own. In fact, the best way to learn fast, in the least amount of time, is to create a diverse study group, where each person is the most proficient in one subject, so you can all divide and conquer the study material as each person focuses on learning one subject and teaching the others using the Feynman technique. And the Feynman technique is a powerful learning strategy developed by the legendary physicist Richard Feynman. This method is based on the idea that the best way to understand a concept is to explain it as if you were teaching it to someone else. I personally thought that you only mastered a topic when you could eloquently explain it to other people using difficult terms that only you could understand. But that couldn't be further from the truth. You can only say that you truly mastered a topic when you can numb it down and turn complex problems into simple, easy-to-follow explanations. So if you want to make sure that you learn something properly, pretend you're explaining the concept to a 5-year-old and use simple language and analogies to make the concept as clear and concise as possible. By breaking down complex ideas into simple terms, it can help you to find knowledge gaps and deepen your understanding of the subject while also improving your retention and recall. Using the Feynman technique to learn in groups not only helps you to study and learn from each other faster than if each of you was studying everything on their own. Studying with friends also makes studying feel much more fun and enjoyable because it allows you to bounce off ideas of each other. And personally, it became something that I actually looked forward to because it combined something that I had to do, studying, with something that I love to do, which was spending time with my friends. I also found out that setting a time to study together also created an accountability system that pushed all of us to commit to studying because we knew that others would be counting on us to do our part and study the material well so we could teach others. Studying together and passing the exams together also created the sense of camaraderie of going through something extremely hard together and made the post-exam celebrations much more meaningful. Number 2, curiosity. Curiosity is a habit of every single highly effective learner. And that's because we learn so much more effectively and retain more information when we're genuinely curious about what we're learning. In fact, studies have found that the activity in the midbrain and nucleus accumbens was enhanced during states of high curiosity. That means that when we're genuinely curious about what we're learning, you can actually learn things more efficiently and remember what you learned more effectively. But I get it. It's hard to be excited and curious about boring, or rather dry subjects like calculus, because not everything we learn will be naturally interesting to us. But when that happens, you can try to create a link of what you're learning to something that you like, so you become more naturally curious to know more about it. For example, if you like playing video games, instead of just thinking about learning calculus for the sake of it, you can become genuinely curious about how calculus helps to create realistic animations by modeling motion, light, and shadows of your favorite video games. So for everything you study, try to start by asking questions to spark your curiosity and push you to learn something new, to scratch that itch you created at the beginning of your study. Number 3, highly effective students also take breaks, a lot more often than you think, because I know how important it is to take breaks to get more done. Taking breaks to walk or nap can help you to replenish your energy and boost your ability to concentrate, think more creatively and effectively. But to do it well, you need to stop working before you pass the tipping point of being bored or tired, so you can take a break and still be excited and motivated to keep studying after. And a great way to help you to manage your study schedule is through the Pomodoro technique. It's a time management method developed by Francisco Cirillo in the late 1980s. It's a simple and powerful technique that involves breaking your work into focused intervals, typically of 25 minutes long, separated by short 5-minute breaks. And the name Pomodoro comes from the Italian word tomato, inspired by the tomato-shaped kitchen timer that Cirillo used during his university days. Studies have shown that our brains can only maintain high levels of focus for a limited amount of time before needing a break. And by working in short, focus bursts followed by brief rest periods, the Pomodoro technique leverages our brain's natural rhythms to optimize productivity and concentration. And to follow the Pomodoro technique, you need to set a timer for 25 minutes and study without distractions until the timer goes off. And here you don't need a tomato timer, you can just use your phone. And when the timer goes off, you're gonna have a well-deserved 5 minutes break. I personally like taking this time to stretch my legs, going to the bathrooms, or make myself a cup of green tea, but you can do whatever you want to relax and get ready to your next study block. These intense study blocks followed by a break can also help us to set ourselves mini study goals throughout the day, which can keep us motivated through a long study day. And while the Pomodoro technique works great, in my experience, the optimal duration of intervals may vary between people. For me, only 25 minutes of work seems too short, especially if I'm studying something that I actually enjoy. So if I'm studying a topic that I really enjoy, I usually study for longer stretches without needing a break. And for me, it's usually setting intervals of 80 minutes, followed by a 10-minute break. But on the other hand, when it's a subject that I personally find boring or difficult, I tend to follow the normal 25 minutes followed by a 5-minute break. Because to me, it's less mentally taxing to do something hard by reminding myself that it's only for 25 minutes. So I can do it. But just play around and try different time intervals to see what works best for you. What's most important is to balance your academics with all the other parts of your life, like your family, your friends, your hobbies, and allow your body and mind to actually take a break from all the overstimulation. Taking breaks can help you to avoid burnout and provide a sense of clarity and ease to keep studying, but it's also not an excuse to take breaks for days and procrastinate studying, so don't forget to set a timer so you go back to studying when the bell rings. Habit number 4 is proper sleep. Getting enough sleep is the absolute foundation of your academic success, but many students actually neglect it. I know that you heard it before that you need sleep, but to understand the importance of sleep, we need to look at the science behind it. Sleep is not just a passive activity. Sleep is actually a highly active process that helps your brain to process and consolidate the memories and regulate your cognitive function and emotions. One of the most important habits of highly effective learners is having a consistent sleep schedule. That means going to bed and waking up at the same time every single day, because that can help you to regulate your body's internal clock and improve the quality of the sleep, increase your alertness during the day, and to make the most of your sleep time, it's important to create a sleep-friendly environment. This means blocking out light, reducing noise, and going to sleep in a low room temperature. Adopting healthy sleep habits can improve the quality of your sleep and help you to feel more rested and alert during the day, so you can learn better. Number 5, study schedules. To become a highly effective learner, you'll also need to create a study schedule that fits your class schedule and lifestyle. Most students don't have a study routine, so they just procrastinate and rush through what they have to do. Most students come home from school just to sit down on the couch to watch Netflix or scroll on TikTok for hours, just to end up running around doing things last minute right before the deadline. So instead of spending the time thinking about what you have to do each day and procrastinate it, you need to have a plan on what you're going to do and when you're going to do, so all you have to do is power through it without relying on your motivation to get started. For example, at college, I would often procrastinate going to the gym. I would spend the whole day thinking about what time I would go to the gym until it was actually just too late to go to the gym. Nowadays, I go to the gym right after I wake up, so there are no excuses. I don't even think about it anymore. I even sleep in gym clothes, so there's no friction to get started. And it was really hard in the beginning, but after a few weeks of implementing the habit, now it's much easier to go to the gym first thing in the morning. I even started waking up before my alarm rings at 6 a.m. in the morning, just to go to the gym. And that's the same for you. Having a steady schedule and following it, make sure that you don't get lost in this rabbit hole of procrastination. That doesn't mean that you cannot take a break when you get home, but you want to make it as easy as possible to jump into the work as soon as you come home. For me, that means having my work desk organized with a cup of tea by my side so I don't get distracted or have any reasons to get away from my desk. And if you need a break, just use a timer so you don't spend hours procrastinating on what you have to do for the whole day. Creating a study schedule can also help you to space out what you have to study and do a little bit of it every day so you don't feel overwhelmed on everything that you learned. Tip number 6, highly effective learners have also mastered the art of entering a flow state. And a flow state is when you're so laser focused on doing something that everything around you just disappears and you just lose track of time and space when you're that focused on doing that task. And the concept of a flow state originates from the positive psychologists Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi and Janie Nakamura, who popularized the terms in the 1970s. So this flow state, also known as being in the zone, is characterized by a complete immersion on a task. And every highly performant student I know enters into a flow state when they study. And imagine if you could just actively turn on this level of focus as easily as flicking on a switch every time that you need to sit down and study. But you can actually train yourself to reach this flow state. The first thing that you need to do is to find a quiet, steady space. Clear away all the distractions, and yes, that includes your phone and any sort of desktop notifications and everything else that might pop up or make any noise in the middle of your thoughts. And the more you train yourself to get into the flow state, the easier it's going to be for you to study and for you to enter a flow state next time. Tip number 7, high performance students also exercise. High performance students understand the importance of incorporating a variety of exercises into their routine, and that usually equates to at least 3 workouts during the week. In fact, research has shown that regular physical activity can enhance your cognitive function, improve concentration, and reduce stress levels, all of which can contribute to your academic success. And it doesn't need to be anything intimidating like lifting heavy weights in the gym. It can just be walking to school instead of taking the bus, or taking the stairs instead of taking the lift. Taking care of your health and well-being is the foundation of everything. And don't forget to do at least 30 minutes of exercise 3 times a week. Your body will thank you. To be able to study without burning out, high-performance students also find ways to gamify their study goals by rewarding themselves after they complete a significant study task. This process shortens the feedback loop and makes learning more rewarding by releasing dopamine in our brains. And the reward doesn't need to be complex. It can be a short break, it can be a little chocolate treat, it can be a fun activity, or just a tick on your to-do list. Not only does this make studying more enjoyable, but it also reinforces positive habits in the long run. For example, if you finish your biology homework early, you can reward yourself with a 15-minute break to play a video game. This will help you to keep up your motivation and stamina and increase enjoyment and interest in every given task. Tip number 8, not all tasks are created equal, and some tasks are more important than others, and highly performing students know that very well. And one tool that can help you to prioritize tasks effectively is the Eisenhower matrix. To use the Eisenhower matrix for prioritizing what to study, you need to follow those 4 steps. Number 1, you're going to identify the tasks by listing all the tasks or subjects that you need to study. This can include chapters, topics, assignments, or any other tasks related to your study material. Step number 2 is categorize the tasks. Place each task into one of the 4 quadrants of the Eisenhower matrix based on its urgency and importance. So the quadrant number 1 is urgent and important, the ones that you're going to prioritize first. And these are tasks that require immediate attention due to their critical nature. This should be your top priority and tackled as soon as possible. For example, studying for an upcoming exam, or completing urgent assignments, or reviewing any critical concepts just before a test. The quadrant number 2 is important but not urgent, so you should just schedule it. These tasks are important for you in your long-term goals, but they don't really require any immediate attention. So schedule time for those tasks in your study plan. For example, prepare for future exams, studying advanced topics, or working on long-term projects should all be part of that list. The quadrant number 3 is urgent but not important. These tasks might be urgent, but they're not directly related to your primary study goals. So if possible, delegate those tasks to other people or automate them. For example, instead of participating in your weekly club meeting, you can ask a friend who is going there anyway to take some notes and let you know what were the key takeaways from the meeting. And quadrant number 4 is not urgent and not important, which you should just eliminate altogether, because these tasks do not have any value and can just be eliminated without second thought. For example, cutting down your video game time or other activities that don't directly contribute to your study goals. Once you have categorized your tasks, you're going to prioritize them. So focus on completing tasks on quadrant 1, then followed by quadrant 2, limit the tasks spent on quadrant 3, and eliminate tasks in quadrant 4. And after you do that, you're just going to be constantly reviewing and adjusting it. So just regularly review your Eisenhower matrix and adjust your study plan accordingly. As you progress, some tasks may move between quadrants based on changing urgency and importance. But by using the Eisenhower matrix to prioritize your study tasks, you can focus on what truly matters, reduce stress, and enhance your productivity. By categorizing tasks based on urgency and importance, you can allocate your time and energy more strategically, and ensuring that you tackle high priority assignments first, while maximizing the time spent on less critical activities. This will help you to manage your time effectively and ensure that you don't miss any important deadlines. By incorporating the science-based study strategies into your learning process, will help you to learn smarter and not harder. And if you have any other study techniques that has helped you to learn faster and more effectively, let me know in the comments. I always love to learn more ways to become a better learner, and your ideas might help someone else too. Just remember that studying is a very personal thing, so find what works best for you and keep making small improvements to become a better learner. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more educational content and study tips. And if you'd like to supercharge your learning and earning potential with a degree from a top university, check out some resources I made available for you on the video description. Don't forget that the more you learn, the more you can achieve. So stay inspired, stay motivated, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!